So first one, write down. Next part, your concept of basics of working stress method, and second one, concept of limit state method. Now if I talk about the concept of working stress method is based on old IS code, IS 800 1984. So this part is not required actually for GATE point of view. In working stress method, part is not required for GATE point of view, but if you see the old questions, before 2007 questions, you can find out some questions came from this topic. And if you ask me, sir, apart from GATE, yes, it is important because other exams don't have a particular syllabus for steel structure, believe me. Others exam do not follow the limit state method code. They can give the questions, copy paste questions from old code. So that's why, which part is important? The important part is for working stress method. If I talk about the yield stress of any steel which is used equal to Fy. Yield stress which is used nothing but Fy. So for that given condition, working stress method says axial stress will be 0.6 into Fy. Option number 2, bearing stress equal to 0.75 into Fy. Now bearing stress, this is also termed as, or it is also named as, contact stress. Bearing stress, or you can also say it as a different name, contact stress. Number 3, your shear stress. Now shear stress is again different for different condition. Sir, why? Because if I talk about some rolled conditions or rolled sections and welded or built up sections, shear stress is little bit of different. So that's why shear stress value is taken as 0.4 into Fy or 0.45 into Fy. Sometimes this is used, sometimes this is used in old code. And in the question, if it is asked, only one option will be given. So you have to use one of them. And number 4, your bending stress. Bending stress is equal to 0.66 or 67 Fy. That is your bending stress. If yield stress is given Fy, then we will follow this one. Axial stress means axial tensile or axial compressive. Next one is bearing stress or contact stress. Third one, shear stress, and number 4 is bending stress. Just remember the data, these datas. Now write down one question here. EAC 2005. Write down EAC 2005. Write down the question. Which one of the following stresses, write down, which one of the following stresses, is independent of yield stress as a permissible stress for steel structures. As a permissible stress for steel structures. Write down Option A, write down the option. Option A, axial tensile stress. Write down. Option B, bearing stress. Number C, maximum shear stress. And number D, stress in slab base. Tell me quickly. Correct. Option D. Yep. Correct, Dhruva. Correct, Krishnendu. So write down. Next question. GATE 2007. Write down. GATE 2007. The factor of safety for axial stress is option A 1.67, option B 1.15, option C 1.5, and option D 2.0. Correct. 1.67, 1.15, 1.5 and 2.0. Factor of safety for axial stress. Tell me quickly. Factor of safety for axial stress. Here one important word in steel members. Okay. Option B, option B, option B. Anything else? Okay, option A is also there. Why it is option A? See here. What is the meaning of axial stress? Axial stress means 0.6 into Fy. So what is the factor of safety here? Fy divided by 0.6 into Fy. It should be 5 by 3. It should be 1.67. I think not option B. Now can you tell me what is the factor of safety in bearing stress for steel structures? Quickly. Factor of safety for bearing stress in steel structures. Bearing stress, please check it. Bearing, not bending. Bearing. Bearing was 0.75 into Fy. If it is 0.75 into Fy, factor of safety will be what? Fy divided by 0.75 into Fy, 4 by 3. Correct? So now if the question I modify, which type of stress has maximum factor of safety in steel structure? Which type of stress has the maximum factor of safety in steel structure? Correct, shear. There is only 4 cases. Yield stress is given data. We have to find out axial. We have to find out your bearing. We have to find out your shearing. And fourth one is your nothing but your bending, bearing, shearing and axial. So among these 4 cases, what has maximum factor of safety? Your nothing but shear stress. It is variable from 2.5 to 2.25, I guess. You can check the calculation. 2.5 to 2.25. Now write down one important, very important note. Very important note. This axial stress, shear stress, what I mentioned here, these stresses are valid for static loads. These stresses are valid for static loads. Like for axial, what I have discussed, 0.6 into Fy, that is valid for static condition or static loading condition. What will happen when the member is under dynamic loads or dynamic effects? For that case, permissible stress permissible stress 33.33% or 1/3% is increased. Very important data. 1/3 of the stress will be increased. Very important data. Kindly note down this one. This is valid for dynamic loading. So now last topic from the introduction part. So last topic is what? We have done with working stress method here, this part. Now remaining portion is your limit state method part. So write down limit state method basics. What is there in limit state method? So limit state method is actually based on IS 800-2007. Anyone has studied your one subject, reliability of structure, in your college? Reliability of structure. So this reliability of structures is based on various parameters. Sir, what are the various parameters? Like, sir, type of loading, one parameter, right? Type of region, it may be your hilly region, it may be your plain portion, it may be your underground or sea coastal area. So these are the different parameters for designing any structures. Some structures are static loading, some things may be under dynamic loads like earthquake loads. So that's why this limit state method, all the datas are provided in the code is based on second order reliability. I repeat, it is based on second order reliability. So if the question is asked, IS 800-2007 is based on which order of reliability? IS 800-2007 is based on which order of reliability? Which order of reliability? So this is your, suppose I am giving the option 1, 2, 3 and option D 1.5. It is of course second order reliability. These things are not actually there in the code, but these things have been calculated from design various parameters like areas, loads, type of the location, etc. So please remember this part. Next, sir, limit state method has two parts. One is your limit state of strength and second part is your limit state of serviceability. Now first one, limit state of strength. See, as I think these things also little bit of similar to strength part, means limit state of flexure, limit state of shear, limit state of tension, right? Here in steel there is only major two consideration for strength purpose. In limit state of strength purpose, only two major consideration. One is your stability against overturning, and number two, sway stability. First one, overturning, against overturning stability, and second one is your sway stability. If I talk about the limit state of serviceability, it has various parameters. First one, deflection control, deflection check. Number two, vibration control. Number three, durability. Number four, fire resistance. Number five, brittle fracture. So this durability is also termed as sometimes ponding, P-O-N-D-I-N-G. Ponding effect. So there are various parameters are provided in the code. Now what we have to know from here? Sir, suppose we have given limit state of strength and we have given limit state of serviceability. Now can you tell me one thing, sir, if I consider the factor of safety, in strength, limit state of strength, should I consider more safety or should I consider here? Tell me. First tell me, where should I consider maximum factor of safety? In strength or in serviceability? In loading, correct. In loading condition, we will take more safety. So, for limit state of strength, factor of safety equal to greater than 1. Here, the factor of safety is more. But in serviceability, factor of safety equal to 1.0 or sometimes less. Okay. Somebody is asking, limit state of strength and collapse are same. See what happens in this collapse condition is coming from, I think it is coming from whatever your idea it is, coming from RCC. Now when a RCC structure is actually getting collapsed, we check both the concrete may collapse or the steel may fracture or may not sufficient. But in steel structure, only one material we are providing, right? When you are providing only one material, so I will consider what? I will consider the strength only, right? So it means I should not use the word collapse. I should use the strength part. Actually, if you say the conceptual point of view, both are same, but we should not use the word collapse. Because you can see in steel structures, the steel may actually entirely fail. We are not generally using the collapse word. Yes, factor of safety equal to 1.0. This one 1.0 and it is greater than 1. Now first one, your deflection check. First one, deflection check. If you have your IS 800 2007, you can check your, I think, table number 3. Probably table number 3. If you have table, IS code table, open it, table number 3. Correction please, table 6, not table 3, table 6. Table 6. Page number 31. Page number 31. So in that table, open your table please quickly. So there is two type of buildings are provided, you can say. One is your industrial buildings and one is your other type of buildings. So deflection limit. So first one, this is for your industrial buildings. So if I talk about the industrial buildings, so it means the load, I am considering the load is only vertical. For that vertical conditions, we have to consider mainly two conditions. One is your simply supported beam and second one is your cantilever beam. One is your simply supported beam and second one is your cantilever beam. Okay, so I repeat, table number 6, page number 31. So in that table you can find out a lot of datas, right? In that table lot of datas are provided, but everything is not required. I repeat, everything is not required. Only two things are required for simply supported and cantilever. Simply supported and cantilever, second and third row. Second and third row in the table. But in simply supported, there is two conditions are provided. One is your elastic cladding and second one is given as brittle cladding. Similarly, here also provided same elastic cladding and here it is given as brittle cladding. Now first one, if I talk about this portion, elastic cladding had a deflection limit elastic cladding has a deflection limit for simply supported beam L length divided by 240, length divided by 240, and for brittle cladding it is divided by span. L means span, L divided by your simply supported hai, so it is 300 for brittle cladding. Now what is actually your elastic and brittle cladding? Suppose your steel member is surrounded by some steel sheet, SHEET sheets. So suppose it is surrounded by some rafter sheet or GI sheets. So that is nothing but elastic cladding. It is supported by elastic sheets. If it is supported by some glasses, right, some glass or some fiber materials, that is considered as brittle cladding. So it means your major steel member is surrounded by some sheet, your GI sheet, your some rafters, and some elastic material things, elastic cladding. And if it is surrounded by glass material or fiber material, it is supported by brittle cladding. Next one, cantilever beam. Again, this case it will be L divided by just half, make it half, 120, and this one will be your 1 by 150. It will be just half to the top. Fine. These are mainly two conditions. Apart from these two conditions, we have to know for the gantry girder limits. Gantry girder limits. For gantry girder, there is again three conditions. Number one, your manually operated crane. For manually operated crane, the deflection limit delta max is L by 500. Number two, electric operated crane. For this case, if it is up to 50 ton load, if it is up to 50 ton load, so for up to 50 ton load, maximum deflection is actually L by 750. And number three, electrically operated crane. Electric operated crane, but it is given as more than 50 ton load. T for ton, T-O-N, ton. So for that case, delta will be your L divided by 1000. These three and these two is important for deflection limit. One question, not only one question, if you also preparing for other examination, engineering services like examinations, this part is very important. Already in GATE, one questions came here, probably from this one or from this one. I did not remember exactly, either from here or from here. One question came in GATE, also in engineering services, lot of questions. So please remember this deflection limit part. Next one, so write down vibration control. Vibration control. Actually, this vibration control and these things like fire resistance, vibration, durability, these are actually conceptual things. Don't try to remember these things. Just think logically. Now tell me, suppose if I talk about a pure steel structure, pure steel structure like railway bridge, right? If I talk about a railway bridge, it is entirely made of steel from truss portion, steel, this beam part, steel entirely. So pure steel structure, it is subjected to a moving load or moving train load. So it is subjected to a dynamic loading, right? It is not subjected to a static loading. Now if it is a dynamic loading, it means vibrations, impact will be there, right? If vibrations and impacts are present, it means I need to provide higher amount of strength of steel, right? I have to provide higher amount of strength of steel. It means sometimes I have to provide for high grade of steel. Like if I talk about bolts, Sir, if I want to connect the bolts, you have seen the railway bridges are connected with a huge diameter of the bolts. You can see from the outside look, huge diameter of the bolts. The plates and the truss are connected with a rivet or some bolts. But if I talk about a static building which is made of steel, we do not provide this much thick bolt. We provide, like mild bolts, mild steel bolts. So this is the concept of vibration. So in vibration, for there is impact loading, there will be vibration. It means we have to provide harder steel. And if there is no vibration, we can provide the mild steel. So please write down 2 lines quickly. For vibration of steel structures, higher strength material should use. Higher strength material should use. Full stop. Like under dynamic loading, we use HSFG bolt. We use HSFG. We use HSFG, high strength friction grip bolt, rather than mild steel bolts. Full stop. Next one, third one. Vibration control is done. Third one, durability. Number 3, durability. Durability means you can also say there is another word is used, ponding. So durable means I have to make the steel structure more durable. It means somehow I have to provide corrosion resistant, right? If it is subjected to some water rainfall, or then how it can be more durable? It can't be. So it means for more durability conditions, I have to make the steel structure against or some safety against rain or some water. IS 800 2007 does not provide any particular specification, but IS 800 1984 has mentioned the minimum thickness of the material used. So if the steel material is exposed, to water or rainfall or corrosion, whatever it is exposed to the water, but painting and repairing is not possible. Then minimum thickness of the steel member is 8 mm. So it means if painting and repairing is not possible for corrosion condition, not possible, I will provide 8 mm. But if possible, if painting and repairing is possible, then I can provide 6 mm thick. Steel. Again, important data for MCQ question. It means MCQ question for 1 mark. These two data are important. Alright. And last one, fire resistance and brittle fracture. I think basics data I think are given in the code. No need to study thoroughly. Alright. So that's all from your introduction portion. So introduction portions, why it is important? Because these sections will give you clarity for type of sections, why it is using, why I am using I section for a beam, why I am using a flat member for tension members, why I am using a double channel sections for compression members. Why this portion is actually giving a clarity for basic part or basic discussion before basic discussion of steel structure syllabus. So one question, does brittle means low carbon content? Okay. So first of all, forget this. Forget this. What should I say? Remembering concept. Forget this remembering concept. So tell me one thing. If I ask you a glass material, simple glass material, is it a ductile material or brittle material? A glass is a ductile or brittle? It is brittle. Now tell me again one thing. Glass material is having any carbon content or not? Now see, if we add carbon with lesser amount, with iron, then it will create low carbon steel. Low carbon steel means what? Sir, carbon has a property of a hardness. I think everybody knows. Sir, diamond, from where I can find out the diamond? Diamond, it is a property of carbon. See, if I see the properties or chemical bonding of the diamond, you can find out that carbon bonding was there. So it means diamond is the very hardest. I think everybody knows diamond is the hardest material in the world. I think probably first. I think diamond is the hardest, or second hardest. Whatever it is, you can find out that carbon is the hardest material and it has hardness property. So if I add carbon with iron, it means the alloy will take some hardness. Now if I provide little amount of carbon, it means the alloy will be lesser hard. But if I apply lesser amount of carbon, if I add lesser amount of carbon, the alloy will be lesser hard but more ductile. Now what happens opposite? If I add carbon with more quantity, the material will be more hard but less ductile. I hope it is clear now.